home and my favorite old stomping grounds. Hey there, rail fans. Yeah, I'm back here in Savannah, Georgia. Good old hometown city. Well, briefly, but I'm going to make every moment count to see some trains. Here at the Amtrak station, I'm surprised to see this car still here. I mean, I'm not complaining though. If my office or even my home was in a Pullman car like this and at the train station, I'd be all for it. Zooming in between the support beams of the canopy, as well as some dust in the background, I see our signal is showing a medium approach going into the Savannah Yard. Now called Telfair because of Telfair Road, I remember back when it was called South End Passenger Station. The signal is for this train, Q037, stacked train coming from Pinoka Yard in Charlotte, North Carolina, bound for Moncrief Yard, Jacks. And this is always a plus, seeing all of the power in the front in the same paint scheme, especially YN2 paint. It's always been a kick for many of us CSX rail fans. If I heard right, dispatch is sending this train to Blossom. That's the control point at the south end of Savannah Yard. But in order for that train to do such, it will have to go through a series of switches through the yard. And that will definitely mean a periodic stop here and there before going all the way in. And also blocking Telfair Road, which has happened many times in any southbound train going into it.
Yeah, you gonna tell me 43 is open? 43, 43 over.
I decided to hang out a little bit longer, hoping another train or two will come by, but red signals in both directions. Looking north, that's Highway 80 going over the main line, as well as Central Junction down there. Even though nothing else was going on, well, CSX-wise anyway, Norfolk Southern decided to come across, a lone SD-40 pulling a consist in the Dillard Yard. Well, with nothing else going on, I decided to pack up and head out. A special lady in my life has a special event that will be taking place, and I want to make sure she will have a good time. And it is my mom, by the way. Today is also her birthday. With the festivities over, I decided to come by the tracks one more time before I head out of Savannah. And coming up to the main line, I see a clear signal. All right. This is for Q691, coming from Augusta, Georgia, heading for Rice Yard Waycross. And a cool crew on board at that.
Taxi Q69112, lead into CSXT 930, clear signal. Clark, south, number 2 track down.
Looking at Q691's marker, another surprise came up on track 1, an approach medium. This is at Alabama Junction, by the way, and it's for this train coming up behind me, Y225, a yard job heading back to Southover Yard. Okay, time to get out of the rain. I don't mind it, but I want to stay dry, you know? Now back on the loading platform back at Amtrak Station, I decided to check out the signals one more time and red, and whoa. Am I reading that right? 3 hours? Wow, Amtrak 98 is 3 hours late and should be here in a couple of minutes, but that's not going to happen tonight. Not sure what all happened down in Florida, so goodness. On another note, looking towards the north, once again, another yard job happening for Norfolk Southern. This time, two SD-70 Aces leading the way. Well, with nothing else going on, I'm packing up and on the road, but I will be seeing another subdivision of CSX in a few hours, or the next day. rainy Saturday morning has me here in the neighborhood of Bartlett. And here at North End Bartlett on the CSX Fitzgerald sub, I'm looking here at a medium approach. This is for this train, Q647, a mixed freight coming from Chicago going into the siding. I was a bit unsure to fly the drone in this weather. When I got here, the rain was pouring, but then it stopped. But once the train showed up, it picked up a little bit. Hopefully no damage to the drone or anything, but so far so good. With Q647 now in the siding, dispatch is trying his best to get these trains around one another. So far, what he said himself, it's an absolute mess. But he's going to try to work it out, as most dispatchers do. Two northbounds will be coming. Among them, here comes Q142, stacked train with Tropicana juice cars. And here comes the next northbound, flying up the hill. Mixed freight Q646, bound for Birmingham. Wait a minute, that's where I live. I guess I might see it there later on. Now with the northbounds out of the way, I wasn't too sure if Q647 was still down there, so I got on top of Mount Ballas. Yeah, I know, it's just a hill of rocks. But I wanted to see if he was still down there, and he was long gone. But that does give me a good chance to grab some lunch, but that was cut short because there was another train coming out of Oglethorpe Yard and heading north, so I came back to right where I started. It was local A732 bound for Junction City, Georgia. And the crew on board has seen me before, so they gave me a nice little horn salute as they passed. After the local, I grabbed some lunch, and I needed it too. But under my radar, however, another train slipped by heading south, so I got on the highway and tried to get ahead of it. It was no doubt a stack train, but I couldn't tell who it was. While going down Highway 90, you'll see it on the left hand side. And it was so long I wasn't too sure where the power was, but my question was answered in just a few moments. Now ahead of the power, I let those horses fly and try to get to the next town where I can get a good shot of them going by. That would be Byronville. Now, many people might recognize this town because this is where Q647 had derailed going over that overpass. That's all fixed now. And now I'm in position for L125, heading to my hometown, Savannah, Georgia. I was just there. Yeah, I did say Savannah, but that's just one of the areas he's going to work. His main destination will be Charleston, South Carolina. After that, back on the road and towards Montezuma. And wouldn't you know, getting into Montezuma and at the crossing, another southbound was getting ahead of me. So I had to U-turn back to the way I came, but not as far this time at milepost 723. Here comes Q025, a hot shot bound for Jacksonville. Now back at North End Bartlett, a few things changed up. I just missed A731, who is now heading up the track doing more work. But sitting there on the house track, a pair of AC44s, one in YN2, the other in YN3 paint. It's always good to see the children of the 90s, but it's even better to catch them while they're still in YN2 paint. That paint scheme is just disappearing more and more as the years pass. So catch them while you can, rail fans. While waiting a bit, local A731 shows up again, this time heading back south to Oglethorpe Yard, engine light with a SD40-3. No doubt calling it a night. I know there's one more train coming into the picture, so I held out long enough until he showed up. Bound for Chicago is Q647's northbound counterpart, Q648. Well, that does it for me here. Gotta get things packed up and get on the road and head back to Birmingham. So, here at A&B 732.3, thanks for watching. Until the next milepost.